surprised. He is playing quite a few one-ofs, so...
That is one skill I do see a lot with a lot of these players, is being able to narrow down what their prizes are and quickly think, you know, win conditions based off what's in their deck right now, and that's a very high merit for these players.
Absolutely. So it looks like he eyed the Eevee up to the top. So it looks like he's Ultra Balling for a Trubbish. He might have something in hand that he can play, maybe like an N. I can't particularly see. Yep, looks like he's going to go ahead and play that N. So both players going to shuffle their hands in their deck, draw a card for each of their remaining Grise cards. So both of them are going to get a fresh new 6 cards.
Very interesting that he went the route for the N. I'm assuming because, you know, Pram put what he wanted on top of his deck with Mallow.
Absolutely.
Might as well slow him back down.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe he can draw, you know, maybe 6 really good cards to get him set up. On the other hand, it is Aaron's turn, so, you know, he can maybe get, you know, that Drampa that he was looking for. He can maybe get the Eevee. He could get another Trubbish. He could really get anything off this end. We can see what he got. So he has the Kartana, it looks like. Don't know if he's going to want to play that down just yet. He might want to save that so that he can discard double colorless energies later on in the game.
We'll see the Drampa go down. See a unit energy in his hand. I think he's debating to hold it or attach it, and he does attach it to the Drampa.
Okay. Pramawat has to check, see what energy that is.
Yeah, definitely a new card out of the Ultra Prism set that is going to be seeing a lot of different play today. The other one being Fire, Grass, and Water. So we may see that also later in the rounds. Absolutely.
So it looks like Aaron just passes, and there we go. Pramawat gets the Bridget, so he eyes up a couple Zoroas. Wouldn't be surprised to maybe see like a Sneasel at this point, or maybe even something different, maybe just even a third Zorua.
Yeah, I like to opt to get all 3 Zoruas down right now, you know, before Garbodor gets active. Just start setting up your trade, start setting up your draw power, and then get going with your strategy for the game.
Absolutely. And at this point, Zark is a pretty good hitter. You know, if he can get a full bench out, he can knock out that Tapu Koko in 1 hit. So it does get the Sneasel out there and has to read what it does.
We're going to see a lot of that this weekend, people picking up cars.
Yep,
and,
absolutely. That is never a bad thing, though. It's so nice to see some variety.
Definitely.
All right. So, and he does get the 2 Zoruas as well. I think it's interesting that he's playing the Moonless Madness one from Breakthrough.
Very significant having, you know, the Dark Attack right there over the Ram that we saw from the Shining Legends set that people typically play. But he is playing Dark Energy, so
it makes
being able
sense.
to confuse
is
a
definitely
play that
very good. Absolutely. So he's going to play the 1 puzzle at a time, rearrange his deck to draw 3 cards. And it looks like he's just going to use Oranguru's first attack. It puts any 3 cards from discard pile on the bottom of the deck.
Which is
so it's going to be Mallow, Bridget, and a puzzle at a time. That's actually really cool, come to think of it. You know, you can burn that 1 puzzle of time and still be able to recover it with the Oranguru. Very cool.
Definitely. A lot of people, what I see them do is if they do play 1 puzzle to kind of, you know, search the top 3, they do double puzzle it back later on for extra resources, but having a Oranguru
absolutely
sets that up infinitely.
Yep. So we just saw Aaron bench that Eevee, and he plays the N. Both of them are going to get 6 cards off of that. Also throws off Pramawat based on what he decided to arrange on the top of his deck. So we'll have to see what they draw off of this. This could be a really big turn for Aaron. You know, if he can successfully get a double colorless down onto that Drampa, and, you know, maybe get a Potown and a Garbodor, he could be in Berserk City, dealing massive amounts of damage really quick.
We could see a big wheel also if worst comes to worst.
Could also see a big wheel, absolutely.
Very highly used GX attack.
Absolutely. It looks like he's just going to attach a double colorless to Tapu Koko, and it looks like he's just going to probably be using Flying Flip, spread 20 to all those Pokemon on Michael's side.
This tells me later on we're going to be seeing some Espeon EX plays.
Yes, absolutely. I know from personal experience, I have played Aaron in the past with these Tapu Koko spread Espeon decks, and it is devastating when you get devolved, especially after you, you know, have so much spread around on all the board, and then out of nowhere, just an Espeon EX just ruins all your plays that you might have had. So that is definitely something that Michael needs to be on the lookout for during this game.
So he's hesitant on trading the Mew being a little bit helpful when Aaron does get his Espeons out, but you can get that back. He does play Rest Stretcher on top of the 4 puzzles.
Absolutely. So he'd use that for trade. Looks like he drew another Sneasel, and he's going to trade away the N. Gets the Field Blower.
Looks like
another N. Yeah. So I think for him, he will probably want to conserve that Field Blower just until the Garbotoxin is put online. He doesn't want to just waste it on that Choice Band.
He does have a Guzma in hand, I believe, and I think he's eyeing maybe the Eevee or the Trubbish to go ahead and get rid of that.
Yeah, but does he have a double colorless on those?
He does have double colorless.
Okay.
He got it off the second trade.
Gotcha. Oh, there it is. Okay.
So there's the Guzma.
All right, so he's going to go ahead and Guzma. He could go for the Eevee, or he could go for the Trubbish. You know, if he's really afraid of the Trubbish evolving into Garbotoxin Garbodor from Breakpoint. So we'll just have to wait and see. Yep, looks like he's going to go for that Trubbish. Gonna go ahead and retreat into the Zoroark. Throw on the double colorless energy, and he's gonna go ahead and use that Riotous Beating. Oh, before he does that, Choice Band. Good play.
All right, we see the Choice Band go away, and I believe we are going to see a knockout on this Trubbish before any other actions. And yep, there goes the first prize of the game.
Riotous Beating takes the knockout on Trubbish and goes over to Aaron. So goes ahead and draws for the turn. Looked like he drew a Trubbish off of that top deck. So yep, he's going to go ahead and play that Trubbish. Gets the double colorless energy down onto the Drampaw, and puts another Choice Band onto the Tapu Koko. Can't get rid of those Choice Bands, can ya? And it looks like he just Professor Sycamore there. Going to discard his hand and draw a nice fresh hand of 7 cards. So he does get that Kartana GX, which is definitely interesting. Do you want to discard the double colorless energy at that point? What do you think, Jeff?
I would go for the play right now. I think that, and
yep,
looks
so
like
he's going to go ahead and do that.
The damage spread seems to be the optimal play right now, and leave it out 5th bench spot open for the Espeon EX later on in the game to take multiple prizes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seems to be the route to victory.
Yep, so it looks like Aaron's kind of content with his board state at this point, so he is going to go ahead, use that Flying Flip to put 20 all over the board. And yep, so we'll just go from there. So back over to Pramawat's turn. Looks like he's going to bench another Sneasel and another Zorua. So got a mighty fine board at this point. So if he can find another double colorless energy, he can take the knockout on this Tapu Koko with that Riotous Beating attack.
So he's looking to thin his hand a little bit, because I believe we see an N coming his way, so he wants to draw everything he needs. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So N, going to give Michael 5 cards, going to give Aaron 6 cards. So we'll kind of go from there. The great thing about Michael's deck is that even after playing N, you know, he can draw more cards with that trade ability from Zoroark. Absolutely amazing ability. It lets you discard a card from your hand, draw 2 cards. Kind of reminiscent of the old Empoleon back from the good old days.
Yep, definitely.
So we're going to go from there, see what they get.
One thing to keep in mind here is keep track of Pramawat's item count. Aaron does play the Trash Lance Garbodor. So while there is resistance on the Dark-type Pokemon, it still can hit immense numbers if you get a little carried away.
Absolutely. That is definitely something huge to be on the lookout for, because even though Zoroark does have that Psychic resistance, you know, there's already damage spread around from Tapu Koko, so it doesn't take all that much.
Exactly.
So
it builds up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big thing for him might be the Oranguru putting items back into the deck, actually.
It's a very good choice right there, yep.
So he used his trades. He has Dark Energies. Does he have a way to attack this turn is the big problem. You know, doesn't seem like he has a way to seem like he has a way to retreat the Zoroark out of the active if he can't find an energy. So he's going to attach the Dark to the Sneasel on the bench.
So currently, if he was to bring the Weavile out now, it would hit for, looks like 130 damage if it hits the EX or GX.
But it looks like he's just going to go ahead and pass, hope that he can get something for the next turn. So Aaron draws, gets another Trubbish. So we'll see from there. He does have an Ultra Ball. Do you think he'd want to go for something in particular? Would he go for maybe a Garbodor with the Garbotoxin ability? Or would you go for maybe a Trashalanche Garbodor? Or maybe even something different?
I would go ahead and lock abilities at this point, because Pram right now is not setting up fully to what he wants, what he's used to doing.
Absolutely.
So Garbotoxin right now would pretty much completely shut off this board right now and slow down Pram infinitely.
Absolutely. And I didn't see if Michael has a Field Blower in his hand. I'm not entirely sure. But, you know, depending on what Aaron has in his hand, you know, being able to get the Garbotoxin lock and then being able to, you know, disrupt hands, whether that's with N or something different, could be very huge. So he's going to go for the Tapu Lele here. Maybe his hand's not as stellar as he wants it to be. Going to go ahead and get a supporter. I see that Cynthia on the top of the deck.
That's a
is that a Lusamine? That's a Lusamine.
Lusamine.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
What? There is one Lusamine in there. Wow. All right.
Definitely a unique card in this deck. Looks like we might be seeing an energy evolution to get the Espeon out.
We could very well see that, yeah. Come to think of it, the confusion is actually really good, especially, you know, if you hit the tails on that confusion flip, you're doing 30 damage to yourself, which can set up really good numbers for Berserk, actually. So.
But would you want to confuse right now or spread?
That's a good question. I mean, like, at this point, you kind of want to spread, I think, because, you know, you can eventually get that Espeon down, and then there will be enough damage on those 2 Zoroarks to devolve them, and kind of tear apart Michael's setup.
So unique thing here, Aaron opted out to not get the Espeon GX out. So does that mean it's prized, or?
It very well maybe. So that's kind of something. Yeah, that's kind of something that Aaron will probably have to play around this game. Espeon GX is obviously a very good attacker in and of itself, so we'll just have to wait and see. So I did see Aaron drew the Espeon EX. Doesn't have enough bench space to be able to put that down right now. But, you know, say that Pramawat does take a knockout next turn, then he'll have the bench space, and, you know, out of nowhere, that could be de-evolution. That would be really devastating for Michael.
So the counts currently on the Zoroarks right now are 40 each.
40
and
each.
So long as the Rangaroo. So one more damage spread, and then Espeon next play can take out the 2 prizes.
Absolutely.
And it looks like that's what he's doing.
Yep. So he's going to go ahead and do
Flying
that.
Flip.
Flying Flip's going to put 20 on all of those Pokemon on every side of the board, and it's actually going to put 50 thanks to that Choice Band. So very good on Aaron's side. So looks like he's going to go ahead and evolve that Zoroark on the bench, or that Zorua on the bench into Zoroark.
So we did not see the Garbotoxa come down, so triple trade it will be
could be very effective
definitely
here.
on the way for Pramawat.
Up, going to go ahead and Enhanced Hammer. It looks like the double colorless energy off of the Drampa. Very good play there. I do see an Evo Soda in Michael's hand. He could go for the aggressive, you know, Weavile play that could be really fun, because at this point there are 3 Pokemon on Tarbell's side that are, you know, have abilities. So that could be 150 damage plus the Choice Band. That's 180. That's enough to knock out that Drampa or even that Lele or that Kartana. So
definitely a prize that Pramawat's keeping in his sights right now. We're using the last trade right now.
Yep.
Tossing the Mind Jack Zoroark. And it looks like it was a DCE and a Rescue Stretcher.
Ooh, all right. So that could be really good. He's going to attach a DC there. So he can take the knockout on this Tapu Koko this turn if he wishes to, depending on what his line of play may or may not be. Looks like he's eyeing the Kukui at this point. It doesn't seem like he has any other draw supporter in his hand right now. But at this point, do you even want to draw more cards is the point, because you've already traded 3 times. You're going to get the knockout. So he's going to go ahead and do that. Take the knockout. Aaron's going to promote that Trebush with the Float Stone. I would not be surprised to see Aaron put that Espeon down this turn.
We have the Ultra Ball now.
Yep. So gets rid of the Trash Avalanche Garbodor and the Float Stone.
The question is, does he have the DCE and Potown to do that enhanced damage for Berserk off the Drampa?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I don't know if he would rather go for the Berserk play this turn, or maybe even the Miraculous Shine play from the Espeon. So there we go. There's the Espeon. He has the Psychic, so he is going to go for it, and a Cynthia to top that off. So Cynthia, just like we mentioned earlier, one of those really good cards from the new set Ultra Prism. It allows you to shuffle your hand into your deck and just draw 6 cards straight up.
Definitely adds consistency to these Garbodor decks, which is why you'll see a resurgence of them at this tournament this weekend. Yeah,
absolutely. One of the main problems that Garbodor decks ran into in the past was just that they weren't necessarily drawing the cards that they needed to, because after you're taking prizes, you know, an N isn't really going to do you that much if you're drawing 2 cards. And plus, playing a Garbodor with the ability lock with Garbotoxin is going to not make it so you can play stuff like Zoroark that'll let you draw cards. So we do see the Miraculous Shine here. It puts all the evolutions back into the hand and knocks out those 2 Zoruas. So a nice 2 prizes there for Tarbell, and he's tied up the game so far.
So if Pramawat can hit the Weavile right now, that is a knockout on the Espeon. Unique thing here, he still did not get the Garbotoxin out.
Right.
So there's still all abilities around right now to be used.
Absolutely. So we'll have to wait and see if he can get it. I know that based on what we see from this list, he's only playing 1. So the question is if he can hit it or not. He does play that Professor Kukui, lets him do an extra 20 damage and draw 2 cards. Going to play the Rescue Stretcher. And it looks like he's going to put Mind Jack back in. That's actually not a bad play at all.
I like
so
that play a
that
lot.
Mind Jack attack back from the Breakthrough set back a couple years ago does 10 plus 30 for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and has the stand-in ability that lets you put it right into the active if it's on the bench.
Yep.
So with the DC and the Choice Band, that is a clean knockout on that Espeon EX.
Plus Kukui, so yeah,
it's a
lot of damage.
A gazillion. Over 9,000. So it's going to put that Float Stone on the Oranguru there, just kind of as a nice little safety thing. You know, he can bounce off of it if he needs to. Going to go ahead and use that stand-in ability, and looks like we're going to see a Mind Jack this turn.
So one thing about this that I'm going to play out there is that he has no draw access now. So a Garbodor and end of 2
could be very devastating.
So if Aaron hits all the pieces right now, Potown, evolve the Garbotoxin, and knock out the Mind Jack Zoroark with the end of 2 would be incredible.
That'd be devastating for Pram. Absolutely. So let's see what he does here. It looks like he's attaching a double colorless to the Espeon GX. It looks like he got the GX off of the prizes. So
and there's a Cynthia.
Another Cynthia. So Aaron kind of has some options here. You know, if he really wanted to, he could go for a Berserk if he really wanted to. He could go for, you know, maybe a Psychic or something like that. He could even go for a Divide GX if he really wanted to.
Divide GX would be really unique. I'm trying to see the damage right now. That Sneasel, I believe, has 20 on it. Or maybe it might have been 2 spreads.
Can't specifically tell.
If it's 40, then the Divide GX would be very useful. You might be able to get both Zoroark on the active and the Sneasel, depending on the damage on the Sneasel.
Or even if he maybe, sees Sneasel as a threat, you could just get rid of that right there and then. But at the same time, you have that Mind Jack Zoroark staring you right down. So it looks like he's going to go into the Espeon. He is going to use Divide GX. So we'll see where he places them. Looks like 8 there. And...
So he's taking the 1 knockout. Oh, it was a double knockout.
It was enough. Yep.
That was the play, yep.
There we go. So another nice 2 prizes there for Aaron. That's one of the cool things about these Garbodor toolboxes, that you have so much versatility to take knockouts in so many ways. You can do spread, you can do big damage, you can do devolution, which is really cool, and I'm really excited to see that. So over on Pramawat's side, doesn't look like he has a ton. Looks like he has a couple Bridget. He can maybe play a Puzzle of Time that I see in there. He has a Cynthia, so it's not over yet.
The good thing I've seen so far is Pram has been able to take knockouts with his unoptimal setup right now. So, he's been, yeah, definitely been able to still take prizes with that right now. So
yeah, absolutely. So I think Michael is just trying to decide what he wants to do. He is gonna go ahead and bench that Zorua. It looks like. I think he's gonna play from there. So I did see he had Ns, but I don't think N is necessarily the ideal play at this point because he'll only get 2 cards.
He needs the Weavile, and he needs to set up. Get maybe another Zero down. He did. He only registered to 1 Mind Jack back.
Right.
So, yeah, very interesting spot to be in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just have to wait and see what he does. It looks like he's going through his discard pile, sort of eyeing out his options. Looks like he's just retreating the Oranguru into the Zorua.
He might be eyeing a Moonless Madness if he has the Dark Energy.
Very well, maybe. Looks like he's going to Guzma. Okay, so he promoted and then he's going to Guzma something up. And then looks probably Oranguru's attack to put some cards back up into the deck.
With Oranguru, okay.
Yep. So we're going to probably see that. Actually a really smart play so that he can, stall something in the active while he's trying to get set up again. And, if that Kartana can't get out of there, he could...
catch back up.
He could catch back, especially with that Weavile. That could very well come out soon.
I wonder if he's going to eye a Rescue Stretcher to bring back a couple of Zoruas, or just put the Zoruas back into his deck.
Yeah, it's a big question. So he's going to put those 2 double colorless back. Definitely a good idea. That card is incredibly good. And it looks like he's going to go for the Mew.
I like that play a lot.
I do as well.
One thing, he has not played many Field Blowers. He's only played the 1 earlier to hit the Choice Spin on the Coco. So he still should have 2 left if Garbotoxin were to come up.
Absolutely. So the question is if Aaron is going to be able to get Garbotoxin online, because that would be absolutely huge for him. All right, so Aaron has a relatively big hand. Does have the Po-Town. I don't know how useful that'll be at this point. So he's going to put the Float Stone on the Kartana. And it looks like, is that a double? Yep, that's a double colorless energy down on the Drampaw. Don't know what you do at this point. It looks like he's going to Guzma. Yep, he's going to go ahead and Guzma that Zorua.
Take the main threat off the board.
Yep, absolutely. So, and Berserk does a base of 80 damage, so that'll be enough to knock out that Zorua there. Yep, there comes the Po-Town as well. So if Michael does decide to evolve that Sneasel into Weavile, that'll be an extra 30 damage on there.
With that also, there's only 2 abilities on board now on Aaron's side, so Weavile is not hitting enough for a KO.
Exactly. So... kind of a rough spot for Michael. I mean, he can get down a lot of Zoruas. I know that he is playing, like you said, the Mew EX that can copy any attack on the board. So, if he gets the right energy, he could copy Righteous Edge. He could copy, Berserk. He could copy Psychic. Well, no, he doesn't have Psychic energy.
So interesting. He took out the Zorua. One thing with that is he took out his option to attack with Mew EX. And that's one thing to clarify there, because he needs 3 energy to knock out for the Espeon, 1 being Psychic. Drampa needs 3 energy also to be able to knock out. And so... I think it's a spot to be in right now for Pramawat.
Yep, I think at this point, if I were in this position, I would probably go for the Mew EX and maybe just try to copy Righteous Edge and just try and keep it pretty decent. So he's going to go ahead and play the double Puzzle of Time. He's probably puzzled about what he wants to get. So it looks like he's going to get the Enhanced Hammer. Don't know what else you'd want to get at this point.
You might be able to do a double, so you go Enhanced Hammer and then Righteous Edge off the other Special Energy, which I believe is a unit energy that's still on.
That would be very nice. He does have to keep in mind he has to get the Mew still. So
yes. Well, did he get the Ultra Ball? No, he did not get the Ultra Ball.
He did not get the Ultra Ball. He got another Zorua. So Enhanced Hammer, the double colorless energy, and don't see why he wouldn't bench the Zorua at this point. So he's going to go ahead and do that. And He eyed up the N. I think that's interesting. We'll have to wait and see if that... All right, so he's going to play it. That is going to put Aaron down to 1 card, which is crucial. It's going to put Michael down to 2 cards in his hand. So, you know, maybe if he does get a Zoroark off of that the next turn, he can hit right back into that trade ability that Zoroark GX is really well known for.
I think what we're going to see here is the end of 2, and then we're going to see a Ringer will put 3 extra additional like assist cards, probably to enhance Aaron back to slow Aaron back down while he gets reset up.
Absolutely. So he does have the field blower off of that end of 2. Plays the 1 puzzle, so he's going to go ahead. Oh, there's the Zoroark. And there's a Cynthia there as well, so he could really put, you know, Cynthia at the top if he wanted to. He could put Zoroark at the top if he wanted to discard more cards.
Looks like he's going to opt with Zoroark and then trade it to the Cynthia to kind of finalize his board.
I think it makes sense that he would put Cynthia at the top just because all he would be able to discard with the trade from Zoroark would be that field blower, which he doesn't want to. Especially because that Garbodor now.
Wow. He hit the Garbotoxin. And yep,
there you go. All right, and Aaron retreats and takes game number 1 against Michael Pramawat. Wow.
Great game right there.
Great game. I know.
SBNDX probably the MVP of that matchup. I want to say there, taking those 2 prizes in the mid game,
and also soiling Michael's ability to be able to draw cards. This is when we first found out that we were going to be streaming this matchup. I was kind of not necessarily concerned. I'm just like, well, this is a matchup I've never seen. This is going to be really fun.
yeah, it's definitely interesting between the resistance of Zoroark and the fast-paced, aggressive style to, you know, mid-tempo, spread damage.
Yeah.
I'm going to control this board whether you like it or not.
Absolutely.
Type advantage that Aaron has right now. So definitely 2 unique decks. Yeah, so what does Pram need to do to get this game 2?
Yeah, I think that there's a few things that Pramawat needs to be able to take account of. Obviously, that devolution was huge for him. So, you know, maybe if Aaron starts going in with a Tapu Koko with the flying flip really early, maybe he wants to take that out quicker.
Yes.
That's something that he could definitely do to, you know, stop all that spread from going everywhere. Also, conserving his field blowers would probably be really good as well. Even though it didn't play into factor too much in this game, that Potown can be really devastating when you evolve. Especially with the Potown, even the devolution thing is really hard for it. And also, it sets up really good numbers for Drampa, actually, because with the choice band on Drampa and damage somewhere on the board, it does 180 with Berserk,
Potown.
And then the 30 on the Potown from on the Zoroark. That's a knockout.
Lots of perfect math in Aaron's favor.
Very geometric, and I love it.
You know, I think well, he starts with the 1 Coco again.
Starts with the 1 Coco again, and it looks like a very shiny Rainbow Rare Drampa, and also an Eevee, so kind of has some options for that turn. So Pramawat, he does start with a Lele this game, so he's going to go ahead, use that Tapu Lele GX's ability Wonder Tag, be able to search his deck for any supporter that he wants to, and it looks like he's probably going to go for a Bridget, seeing that he's, you know, eyeing those Zoroas up. So that Bridget card, it came out a couple of years ago and didn't really see play when it first came out, but now that the format has kind of switched to a lot of, you know, setup-based decks, you know, it's really good. It lets you search your deck for any 3 non-EX Pokemon that are basics and put them right onto your bench.
And I think the unique thing with that, what kind of took Bridget over the top, is that it gets GXs also, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really good, you know, if you, in certain decks, you know, in like maybe Drampa Garbodor or something like that, you can get out Drampa GXs, which is absolutely huge. So he's going to go ahead and get 2 more Zoroas and a Sneasel and just pass. Kind of, you know, hey, I've got a pretty good setup.
Definitely an infinitely better setup than last game.
Oh, absolutely. So we're going to see Aaron playing Ultra Ball. Discards 2 Guzma.
Oh, wow. Both Guzmas.
So, and he only plays 3, it looks like. So he's only going to have 1 left for the game. So, and he doesn't play any Puzzle at Time or any Recovery. He does play the 1 Lusamine, so if he needs to, he can go for that.
And it's interesting he opted Lusamine over Pal Pad, so that just tells me he's really dependent on getting his Potowns back.
Absolutely. That is another great point. You can get those Potowns back. So it looks like he's going to get a Tapu Lele GX. He's just kind of looks like he's trying to decide what supporter he wants to get. So he has a pretty decent setup. I don't know if you'd necessarily need the Bridget at this point.
No, I think you opt to get the Cynthia, get your energy. Maybe you'll probably more than likely grab one of your 4 Trubbish off the Cynthia.
Absolutely.
So I don't think Bridget's necessary. But it looks like he's actually going to eye that.
Yeah.
He really wants 2 Trubbish
that
out.
does make sense, though. That that Garbotoxin ability from that Garbodor is very huge. Shuts off things like Trade, Wonder Tag, everything like that. So he gets the 2 Trubbishes down, and
see a Big Wheel GX.
Oh, there we go, Big Wheel GX. Got to make sure he flips over his GX counter. So maybe just see if we can have him flip over the GX counter. So there it is. There we go. All right. So it's gonna go ahead and play an Ultra Ball, discarding the Mew EX and the Field Blower. I don't know that Field Blower discarded. I don't know how I feel about that, but I mean, obviously he's gonna be able to do a lot of damage this turn, so it seems fine. Oh, there we go. And That always stinks after you use a big wheel. That big wheel GX attack lets you shovel your hand in your deck, draw 10 cards, and then after that you just get and down to 6.
Usually the immediate response from the other player, you got 10 cards? I don't like that.
I don't like that. That's a bad thing.
It's too much stuff.
Yeah. So it looks like Michael is going to go ahead and play that end. So both players are going to get a fresh hand of 6 cards, which is really good for both of them. So it'll just depend on what they get. So looking over on Michael's, you don't see his hand quite yet. Looks like he does have that Weavile. So Weavile is doing 100 at this point.
Let's do an ability count, and currently there are 2 out.
Yep.
So that's 50 damage right now. 130 with 100 damage and 130 with the choice band. Apologize.
Yep. Went ahead and used that trade ability from Zorak. Discarded the Giratina. I don't think that Aaron plays any breaks in this deck, so I think it's safe to assume it's good to discard.
Very safe to say.
So right now Michael is doing 100 damage with that Rite of Speeding. Don't know if he wants to put another Pokemon if he doesn't have one. So, but 100 is a perfectly fine attack at this point. So, you know, that puts it in 2-hit KO range for Aaron's Grandpa there. So going on to Aaron's turn, he has a DCE. I don't know if he would want to go for something like that.
He has a Potown now, so you can combo play right now with the extra damage of Potown. So we'll see what happens there. But he opts to attach the DCE to Tapu Koko. So I think we're going to see the spread come back into a factor of this game.
Absolutely.
Showing how much success it had game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. So he is going to go ahead and play that Professor Sycamore, discarding his hand, drawing a fresh new 7. One thing to note is that he discarded the Kartana GX off of that. Do you think Kartana GX is a really good card in this matchup, or do you think it's kind of...
I think it's very useful. If you look at Pram's side, every attacker is a DC-based attacker minus Weavile, so take away that, take away the attacks.
Absolutely. So, looking at Aaron's hand, it looks like he just looked at Michael's discard, kind of eyeing out maybe, hey, how much is Trash Edge doing right now? So it looks like he's just going to go ahead and go for the Righteous Edge. Going to do 20 damage to the Zoroark. Looks like he's going back to Michael. He's going to use that trade ability, draw fresh 2 cards after discarding the
You see the Mind Jack Zoroark.
Yeah, that it could be really good here if he wants to just have a really nice one-prize attacker. So
I believe
we'll have to wait and see.
DCE.
Oh, there we go. We're going to see an Acerola there. Acerola is a really good card that came out back in the Burning Shadows expansion.
And there it is.
Yep, there we go. So we're going to see a very fun Weavile. So Weavile has that really fun attack that does 50 damage for each Pokemon on your opponent's side that has an ability. And sure enough, Aaron has 2.
Nice little play there that Pram did. He only had 1 Zoroark GX out, but he did the first trade, Acerola. It evolved the second Zoroark, was able to trade again.
Absolutely. So getting 3 trades off effectively while only technically having 2 Zoroarks in play.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of crazy. Sounds like someone, you know, might be up to a few shenanigans, but perfectly legal and a very good play.
And he's tossed both Guzmas now
Yeah.
for his 2 trades, so...
Wow. So don't know if those
decisions.
It's not necessarily that big of a deal for Michael just because he does play the 4 puzzle at a time as well as playing the Oranguru if he really wanted to get those back. So he does put the Float Stone, maybe? No, it looks like he kind of eyed it back. So, gonna go ahead and attack with that Weavile. Take a nice knockout on that Drampa. I don't know, I'd like taking 2 prizes with a 1-prize attacker.
That feels very nice, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, so huge hand on Aaron's side, so lots of options. Oh, that's his discard pile. I apologize.
Come on, Jeffrey.
I was like, oh, man.
Gosh, it's only round 2.
Wake up here.
So going forward, I see Aaron eyeing up that unit energy. Nope, he's going to put the Psychic Energy on. Go ahead and use Eevee's Energy Evolution. When you attach an energy of a certain type, you can evolve into the correct evolution of that type.
Note there, it does take the second ability-based Pokemon off the board, limiting Weavile's damage.
Yep, very good play on Aaron's side, realizing that that is a threat, being able to take that down. So, at this point, do you think you would want to just start spreading with Tapu Koko's Flying Flip?
I think Tapu Koko spread right now, leaving that extra bench spot for the Espeon later on is the play right now. Weavile is only going to do 50 now.
Yep.
So it's either forced to retreat the Weavile, and attack with Zoroark, which then looks like you put the Drampa back down for Righteous Edge. So interesting spot to be in, but I think Tapu Koko spread is the current play.
Absolutely. So we saw, like you said, Aaron bench that Drampa. Drampa obviously really good for the Righteous Edge, and also for Berserk if he wanted late game potential. So he is playing the N right now. Going to put Michael down to 4 cards. Aaron's going to get a fresh 6. So the thing for Michael, though, is that he has 2 Zoroark GX in play, so he can just easily trade into, 4 new cards.
Yep.
So
no Garbotaxion's still out, so...
Yeah, so if Aaron doesn't get the Garbotax on this turn, that's, I don't know how I feel about that.
It's definitely in Pramawat's favor, but not being able to get that out is going to still keep, Pramawat's engine turning and, take control of this game. I mean, he's actually in control right now, but kind of put a staple on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do see Aaron just go ahead and go for the Flying Flip. Going to put 20 on each of those Pokemon there. So it looks like the 2 Zoroarks both have 50 on them. So not enough to quite get the de-evolution yet. But, in the next turn, if he's able to keep that Tapu Koko alive, we could see another spread. And then the next turn, could see de-evolution again.
So I'm curious, Weavile's retreat cost. I believe it is free retreat, so he should not have a problem pulling up a Zoroark and just knocking out the Tapu Koko. Now with the full bench.
Yep. So he goes ahead and plays that Tapu Lele. Looks like he's eyeing up the Mallow. Mallow is a great card from Guardians Rising. Lets you search your deck for any 2 cards. You shuffle the rest of your deck, then put those 2 on top of your deck in any way you like. So 2 cards. You know, draws you 2 cards. Zoroark GX. Yes.
Great combination there. I've seen like past regionals at Memphis. A lot of players use Mallow to get double Enhanced Hammer, knock out stuff or take out energy on the bench, and knock out the active. So a lot of unique plays there.
Absolutely.
And I want to say he's starting to go DCE and maybe a puzzle at times because he does have 1 in hand.
I can see that for sure. Looks like he's eyeing up another Zoroark GX actually, or maybe an Evo Soda to get
a lot better at this.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like he got the double colorless energy and the Evo Soda, so he'll be able to draw those, put the DC onto the Zoroark, and then also be able to Evo Soda that Zorua if he wants to. Although at this point, I don't know how many items he's played. That could make Trash Lanch do a lot.
Definitely. If we could get an item count, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it looks like he does, like we said, to play Evo Soda to the Zoroark. And then I believe he's going to retreat and just knock out the Tapu Koko.
I don't see why he wouldn't at this point. That knocks out the Tapu Koko, which is the main point of the spread at this point. So, and Aaron only plays 1, and I don't believe he plays, well, he plays 1 Rescue Stretcher, so he can get it back if he wants. Don't know if it's in the discard yet or not. We'll have to wait and see.
He used it earlier on the Drampa GX to bring that back.
Ah,
so
that's
that
right.
Stretcher is gone.
So it is gone. That is true. All right. So this is the end of Koko. Uh-oh. So we do see the double colorless energy come down onto Michael's Zoroark GX. Gonna go ahead and retreat. It looks like it is 1 retreat for that Weavile. But that's not bad when you just have a singular darkness energy. So gonna go ahead and see Riot Beating take the knockout on that Tapu Koko. And Michael has kind of taken a really good lead in this game. So we do see Aaron there. Bunch of Drampa.
Finally a Garbotoxin.
Found the Garbotoxin. Now he just needs some sort of tool, and he's got that lock there.
There's Cynthia.
Yep, Cynthia, pretty good card here. So what I think would be a really good play from Aaron is if he's able to draw a Float Stone off of this and Righteous Edge, how is Michael going to respond?
That's very true. The trade ability will be locked on top of Weavile's damage cap.
Yeah, absolutely. So Aaron does draw the Choice Bands. He's going to Choice Band the Garbodor. The ideal tool that you normally want to get on a Garbodor is a Float Stone. Since Garbodor's retreat cost is so hefty, you want to have that Float Stone for free retreat. But Choice Band is a tool. It does its job, so can't complain.
Another note on that is Aaron's not scared to attach Choice Band with Pramawat discarding 2 Guzma earlier in the game.
Yeah.
So that the biggest scary thing there is it's not a Float Stone. He can get Guzma stalled out now.
Yep. We just saw really big plays there from Michael. He actually got the Field Blower to get rid of those 2 Choice Bands. Also the Enhanced Hammer to get rid of that unit energy.
Oh, wow. Yes.
So right back on the board for Michael. So it looks like he's going to use trade number 2. So he's kind of eyeing through. He has a really big hand. He's not sure what he wants to do at this point, it looks like. Going to go ahead and trade again. So he really just needs to find a double colorless energy at this point, I think.
I'm curious if he's able to find like an extra puzzle and go DCE Guzma on the Garbodor on bench.
Oh, that could be good. Yep. Yeah, so looks like he's going to go ahead and just go for the Weavile at this point. It is doing a nice 100 damage, which is a pretty solid amount of damage. So we'll just go ahead and see that. 100 damage going onto that Drampa GX.
It works with the 2-hit knockouts that Zoroark tends to have.
Absolutely. So, going to go ahead and see him draw.
Looks like he drew a Cynthia off the top deck.
Yeah. So he does have a Trashalanch Garbodor in his hand. Now, the question is if he wants to play that or not, because that Garbodor has damage on it. It could be a very hefty Guzma target that could get knocked out later. Does he want to capitalize and keep that Garbotoxin, or does he want to, start putting on some extra damage is the question.
Well, he does looks like opposite bench the other Trashalanch, and he's in Cynthia. So what I think he's looking here is a Flow Stone.
Obviously.
Hopefully 2.
Hopefully
2. And then bring up the other Drampa to kind of do some chip damage.
Absolutely.
He's already attached the energy to it, so I'm sure he's either committing to that or the Espeon GX for confusion.
Oh, absolutely. So let's see what he draws. I do see a Float Stone, so we can get the Garbotoxin unlock if he wants, or he can retreat the Drampa if he wants to, whichever one he wants to. Looks like he's going to go ahead and activate that Garbotoxin ability. Shuts off all the abilities on the field except for Garbotoxin when there's a tool attached. And he's actually just passing. Wow. Didn't even do anything that turn. Wow. Dang. So
one thing to note here, now that Garbotoxin is in effect, all abilities shut off, they're non-existent. So right now, Weavile's only doing 50 damage.
50 damage. Although, if he can find a Choice Band, that is a knockout.
And he has double puzzle, so...
Yep. So, although he didn't get the Choice Band with it,
double puzzle,
another Field Blower.
And he took back 2 Field Blowers off that, so he's ready for the next turnaround.
Absolutely incredible play from Michael there. I know he's being very good with the resources, and he has a choice band in hand, so he is going to be able to get the knockout here. Absolutely.
Take this down to 1 prize. He's probably going to try to limit himself down because I'm pretty sure he knows there's going to be an end coming next.
Absolutely. So, you know, he hit the field blower, so now Lele has its ability again, so that's actually a knockout in and of itself. So he can just go ahead and do that, and he's going to actually Ace Arola and put the Tapu Lele back into the hand and get rid of it with trade. Perfect.
So he's also taking a liability off the board. Drampa can one-shot a Lele with Choice Band, so that's one extra thing to think about there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we could be seeing Zork's GX attack come into play here later on by putting that Dark Energy on the bottom there.
Yep, absolutely.
So lots of outs for Pramawat now that he's setting up, going down to 1 prize.
He's down to 1 prize. Aaron hasn't taken a single prize this game. What do you do if you're Aaron?
I think Aaron is, I don't know, it's tough. Very, very tough spot to be in.
Right.
There's no flow stone to put on Garbotoxin. You're down to just 1 energy each on your attackers, and a Weavile staring you down.
Yep. And he's actually just going to go ahead and concede, go to game 3, realizes the rating on the board, you know, he can't really get much. So we're going to go ahead and go to game 3 and hopefully determine a winner of this match.
Phenomenal board control for Pramawat that game. He had the few blowers at the right time. He had all of his trades going, knowing which attackers to use at what time. A very great play from him.
Absolutely.
One thing we didn't see there, the Espeon EX did not come into play that game. That's one thing to take into consideration there with all the damage spread going on. So
yeah. So maybe Aaron just decided that he wasn't going to go for it, or you know, maybe it was prized or something like that. We don't entirely know. So going into this game, you know, Aaron just lost that one. Do you think he should go back to the strategy that he was using in game 1, being able to just use that de-evolution?
I believe that is the play. You know, Coco spread Po-Town and just set it up. Just set it up. All the chip knockouts makes it easier on Espeon GX, makes it easier on Drampa.
Absolutely.
And you know, Espeon EX can have a heyday, taking those easy, you know, cheap prizes with Miraculous Shine.
Absolutely. I think that the big thing for Michael in this past game was that, you know, he got rid of that Tapu Koko really quickly. So, you know, being able to get rid of that spread, he was only able to get off 1 flying flip. That's really not that much. If you kind of think about it.
You need at least 3 to be significant. 2 and maybe a Divide GX to set up different knockouts later on. But yeah, no, the Coco spread is definitely needed. Let's see if he gets lucky enough again to start with it again for the 3rd game in a row.
Yeah, we'll see. Does he have it? I can't tell. Darn.
There's no yellow.
Oh, so darn.
That's a good indicator.
Probably not. Just watch it be the Tapu Koko. That'd be good. So both players set up, and they're going to go ahead and it's not a Tapu Koko, it's a Drampa, but that's a good card too, so it's okay.
So we got a Sneasel start and a Drampa start. All right.
So not a terrible start for either of them. You know, Aaron's kind of got some options. I did see he had a Trubbish in his hand. Going to go ahead and bench it, attach the Psychic to the Drampa. And here's an Ultra Ball. Could go for that Tapu Lele GX. Use that Wonder Tag ability. Discarding a Guzma and a Choice Band. Would you go for a Bridget here, do you think?
Looking at how his other supporter was, I mean, actually, he's got rid of his only supporter, Guzma. I don't know if you go for a Bridget this play.
Right.
One of the biggest things that you want to do when you Bridget is have a backup strategy for draw.
Absolutely.
Whether it be Cynthia and Sycamore, whatever it be. And he didn't have any of that, so I think we see a Cynthia play here to kind of reset his hand and get a fresh start. Absolutely.
So we'll have to wait and see what he can draw off of that, getting him a nice hand of 6 cards. So it looks like he does have an Eevee, so it does give him some options, which is nice.
It's fun to get attackers out without using Bridget.
Yeah, oh, it's so fun.
Very, very useful.
When you start off for Trubbish, too good. So looks like he might not bench the Eevee this turn, though. I think that's smart, though, for sure. Just so that he can conserve it on the off chance that, like, you know, maybe it gets attacked or something like that. He can conserve it for the next turn.
Fair enough. I don't know if there was any turn 1 attackers that Pramawat has on his side, minus the Lele, but there would have been an energy on the Eevee anyway for a knockout. So curious on the decision. But we do see a Lele on Pramawat's side. And he has an end in hand, so I would like to assume he's going to get a Bridget this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see why you wouldn't probably get, you know, yourself 3 Zoros if you wanted to, or maybe a 2 Zoros and another Sneasel if you wanted to.
He does only play to 1 Weavile, so I'm going to guess he's going to go 3 Zoros here.
Absolutely. Although I wouldn't blame him if he just went for the 3 Zoros. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So actually he's going to get the N out. Okay. Oh, he has the Oranguru in hand. Looks like he's tempted to put it down. Nope, he's just going to go ahead and play that N. Huh. Well, that seems fine. So he's going to play the N. Both of them are going to get 6 cards. Fresh new hand. Maybe Michael just didn't like what he was dealing with. You never know. So potentially.
Very curious on that decision, yeah.
So ideally from Michael here, you probably want to draw obviously some basic Pokemon like Zorua or Sneasel. So does he get it? Yep, gets 1 Zorua. Darkness Energy. What does Sneasel's attack do? Oh my gosh.
I believe, so Sneasel's attack is really interesting. So for a colorless energy, or
did it just discard an energy?
So if Sneasel attacks first, but you go second, and you start with Sneasel attack with it on the second turn, discard energy anywhere in your opponent's side board.
Oh my goodness.
But only if you go
Only
second.
if you go.
So, very, very
Oh my god,
right
this is
there.
great.
So...
Perfect. So yeah, got rid of that psychic energy off of Drampo. That kind of messes with a lot of, his strategy. maybe Aaron was thinking, oh, I can get a really good Berserk off next turn and knock out that Sneasel.
Oh,
but,
rediscard.
Darn.
That's not fun.
Oh, wow. So yeah, Aaron's kind of back to the drawing board at this point. So looks like he is eyeing up, Tapu Lele, gonna go ahead and play the Bridget, get another Chubbish into Tapu Koko. Gonna go ahead and use the Big Wheel GX there.
Pram doing an indicator, moving his GX counter this game.
Yeah. There we go. So, does Pramawat have an N that he can respond with?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. He just traded for Ace of Roll, and he did not get an N.
Oh, wow.
So, see a Dark Energy going on his work GX, and probably Cynthia play here.
Yeah.
So, Aaron has
10 cards in hand.
He wasn't going to look at his hand originally, but now he's like, oh.
Now he's just like, I'm safe. All right, cool. So, he does see that hand. Pramawat is going to go ahead and draw a fresh 6 cards. So he does have the Zork. He did have to attach the Dark Energy there. So at this point, do you think you'd probably want to find the Weavile?
Definitely find a Weavile, and you can get. Would you get a knockout right now? It'd be 100 damage.
It would only be 100 damage, but still, that's a pretty decent amount of damage at that point.
Definitely sets up Zork for a knockout later on. So yeah, definitely.
Yep, and it looks like he missed it. Don't see any.
I don't see much going on.
I just see supporters and one puzzle of time. So, oh my goodness, he's using the attack. I should really read up on the Sneasel. Goodness.
We need to look
my
up
goodness.
Sneasel.
Looks like it did 10 damage, or is that a 30? Yeah, who knows. It did damage. We'll do that. So it looks like he's going to go ahead, evolve into that Garbodor with the Garbotoxin ability and the Trash Avalanche attack.
All right.
Put the Floatstone down, so Aaron's kind of got a pretty good board at this point.
He is ready to roll. No Zorarks on Pram's side, just a Sneasel. That's probably going to get knocked out here once he attaches the DCE.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And, wow, yeah.
That's really good. Do you even want to tap a Cocoa spread at this point?
I think
at this point, you just go all in, wouldn't you?
You just go now. You see nothing's really going on his side, and you just kind of go now.
Yep, absolutely. Dang, so we're going to see Cynthia from Aaron's side. Going to get him a fresh hand of 6 cards, per usual with the Cynthia. And we'll go ahead and see what he gets.
He does get a DCE, so
that's very good. So he can Berserk this turn, absolutely. Now he's debating if he wants to put it there. I think it's a pretty good play at this point to sort of just start taking knockouts. So we're going to go ahead and see the knockout with the Berserk there. Goodbye, Sneasel. And into Zorark.
So one thing Pram could do this turn, seeing how he's not really very much set up, he can attach Dark Energy and Trickster GX.
He very well could.
Big Wheel GX and reset up his board.
Yeah,
he could also
very well could.
Berserk, but I mean not Berserk, but there's no damage on his Lele side of the board right now, on his Lele, so it won't do much damage. But definitely Trickster to a Big Wheel, and
that is definitely a play that should be looked out for in the future. Absolutely, I didn't even think about that before. Good point. So he's going to go ahead Bridget for 2 Zoros and a nice little Sneasel. Wants to eventually get a nice attack off with Sneasel or Weavile for Game 3 because it's fun. So at this point, would you go for the Trickster GX or would you go for the Riotous Beating?
I'm trying to eye his hand right now, and it looks like he's going with.
Looks like the Riotous Beating.
No, he's going with Mind Jack.
Or the Mind Jack.
Mind Jack. Or
not Mind Jack.
Wrong Zord. You're right. Riotous Beating.
Yeah, I was like, where's the Mind Jack?
I was thinking Riotous Edge off the Drampa. Sorry.
It's all good. So back to Aaron. He's going to play the Ultra Ball, discard the Espeon GX. Rescue Structuring it.
Back in.
Looks like he meant to fail that Ultra Ball probably. So, and then Rescue Structured that Espeon GX back. Going to put the Floatstone on the Drampa. I think he kind of realizes that, Drampa could get knocked out really soon. So he kind of wants to retreat that.
And we do see a Sycamore. And what is he going to try to grab here?
Yeah, because
go back to the Cocoa spread.
Yeah, I don't assume that there are many items in Pramawat's discard. So,
yep, there it is. Yep, we are going for the Cocoa spread play.
He's kind of. Oh, he could go for the. He could go for the Energy Drive there. So Energy Drive, a really nice attack, especially on a support Pokemon like Tapu Lele GX. Does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. So, and it doesn't apply weakness or resistance.
So